Hello, my crafty friends. It's Marie from Marie's Vermont Creations, and today we're going to work on this really quick card that uses up scraps that you have on hand. So what I have done is taken some double-sided adhesive sheets, cut it down, and I've adhered a piece of copy paper to that so that this isn't too bulky once I get all of these strips on here. And then I just took solid cardstock from my stash and cut them into random widths of and different lengths. So I just kind of went at it, made a big pile, and now I'm putting them in rainbow order on the diagonal on this one. I did make two versions. I only show you how to do the one, but then at the end I will show you the second one that I made, which I used the same color combination. I just did them in a sporadic pattern instead of in the rainbow, and I will admit that I do enjoy the rainbow version better. But anyways, yeah, I ended up with two cards out of it. This is a great way to use up scraps that you may have on hand. Works well with pattern paper, solid paper. You could do a mixture of both. You could go keep the strips of paper, not doing diagonal, but you could go horizontal. You could, the possibilities are endless. You could emboss this once you are done in an embossing folder to put an impression on it. I have done that before. I've also done it with circles instead of strips and then embossed it, and that always looks good. You could add glitter to the top of it when you're done. You could do, if you have some stamp sets that have a lot of those skinny sentiment strips, you could do a different sentiment on each one if you wanted to stamp that, and you could heat emboss on it. So I'm just repeating the pattern. I started with red and I'm just working my way back through until I get to the corner of all of the sticky adhesive. And then I'm going to cut this down because I didn't make sure that all of my strips were long enough. Otherwise, I would just cut the excess off and use the entire piece, but I ended up being short in a few, and I didn't like it when I tried to piece them together. You could see the seam, and I personally didn't like that. So then I'm going to just cut the piece down. But now that we've made it to the corner, I'm going to trim off all the excess around all of this section. Just get all of those, and you can reuse what you're cutting down. Feel free. I mean, obviously if they're little bits you might not be able to, but these longer ones could definitely be used to make yet another card. So I'm just going to use my paper trimmer and my guillotine trimmer and cut down. The one edge only needed a slight trim just to make sure that all cardstock was showing on all sides, and then I made it into a square so that I could make it into a square card, which I'm enjoying. So the stamp set that we're using is the Beautiful Day stamp set from Simon Says Stamp, and we're going to use the sentiment I adore you because I just thought this would be a good pick-me-up card that you could send to somebody. And so I'm using intense black ink from Simon Says Stamp to stamp this onto a scrap piece of white cardstock. And then I'm going to use a punch that I had on hand from my days with Stampin' Up! To punch this out and adhere it to the front of the card. And I do love these because I save scraps of paper and then I hoard them in a drawer and I don't do anything with them. So this inspired me to kind of use up some of these scraps that I know that we all are famous for saving. So this gives them new purpose and they're not just sitting in a drawer somewhere, and I can make somebody's day with this great rainbow card. So that is the final card design for that one. We're just going to put some foam dots on the back of it to pop up the sentiment in the center. I thought that would give it a little something in the middle there to raise it up a little bit. You could also put this on colored cardstock instead of white. You could heat emboss right on the rainbow pattern paper. You could do whatever. So the bottom one is the second card that I made, and then I did add a little of the Doodlebug heart to the sentiment just to give it a little pop. That's today's project, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a great day.